Hello, movie newscast family, and welcome back to the channel. In the past 24 hours, we've received the heartbreaking news of the loss of some truly remarkable individuals. Today's episode is a tribute to their incredible legacies. Denise Alexander, best known for her role as Leslie Weber on General Hospital for years, has passed away. The executive producer of General Hospital, Frank Valentini, announced her death on Friday, remembering her as someone who broke barriers on screen and off. He added, "It meant so much to have her reprise her role in recent years, and I am honored to have had the opportunity to work with her." Denise last appeared on the long-running soap in 2021 after returning for its anniversary shows in 2013 and 20. In addition to her iconic run on General Hospital, Denise also appeared in Days of Our Lives between 1966 and 1973. Denise was a natural-born actress, having first broken into showbiz at just 6 years old. But her talent didn't just propel her in front of the camera. She also worked in radio and was an accomplished photographer as well. She was also a scholar, graduating from UCLA with an English major and art minor. Afterwards, she worked on some postgraduate studies while getting her feet wet in real estate. The actress took a brief pause from showbiz during her time at university until Days of Our Lives writers Ted Corday and Betty Corday came knocking on her door with a role for the second time. She accepted, telling the Schenectady Gazette in 1991 she's thankful she did. Denise was married to Richard A. Colla, a director and producer she often collaborated with, until his death in 2021. They shared a daughter, Elizabeth. Denise was 85. R.I.P. Samuel French, a Texas actor who played an FBI agent in Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon, has died. He was 45. Director Paul Sinecor confirmed French died Friday in his birthplace of Waco, Texas, after a years-long battle with cancer. Sinecor, who directed French in his final performance in the upcoming movie Towpath, posted a tribute to the late star on Instagram. "Samuel was a dear friend and an incredible actor," Sinecor wrote. "Towpath wouldn't exist without him, and the incredible intensity he brought to the role of Detective Bernard Crook set the tone for the entire film. Together, we were on an extraordinary journey, giving everything we had to realize a shared creative vision." Sinecor continued, "Samuel carried a fire for acting that burned in every frame, unfiltered, fearless, and alive. He gave himself completely to the work, and it showed. I am deeply saddened by his loss, and only wish he could have seen the final cut," the filmmaker added. "He was one of a kind, and he will remain in our hearts forever." Sinecor also showed love to French's family, including his daughter Madison, 12. "He loved her deeply and spoke of her often with pride and tenderness," Sinecor wrote. "His friendship had an unexpectedly profound impact on my life." The week of French's death, Sinecor posted a selfie of the pair and Eric Roberts on the set of Towpath. For Sam, a dream come true to be in a scene with Eric. After their last take together, Eric acknowledged the raw, truthful, and powerful presence that Sam brought to the scene, Sinecor wrote. French made his acting debut in the 2015 miniseries Texas Rising, also starring Bill Paxton, Ray Liotta, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and Brendan Fraser. He went on to play Ben in an episode of Fear the Walking Dead in 2020, and the titular character in the 23 thriller Joe Halladine, The Case of the Missing Sister. French shared the screen with Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro in Killers of the Flower Moon, in which he played FBI agent C.J. Robinson. The film was nominated for 10 Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Director for Scorsese, 82, and Best Actress for Lily Gladstone. French is also survived by his daughter's mother, Melinda Acosta, his parents, Thomas and Evelyn, and his brothers, Andy and Danny. Cinecor confirmed that French's funeral service will take place Friday, May 16th at First Baptist Church in Valley Mills, Texas. Country music star Johnny Rodriguez, a popular Mexican-American singer best known for chart-topping hits in the 1970s, including I Just Can't Get Her Out of My Mind, Ridin' My Thumb to Mexico, and That's the Way Love Goes, has died. He was 73. Rodriguez died Friday. According to social media statements posted by his daughter, Aubrey Rodriguez, she said he died peacefully and surrounded by family. Dad was not only a legendary musician whose artistry touched millions around the world, but also a deeply loved husband, father, uncle, and brother, whose warmth, humor, and compassion shaped the lives of all who knew him, she wrote. Rodriguez was named the most promising male vocalist at the 1972 Academy of Country Music Awards, and his debut album, Introducing Johnny Rodriguez, earned a nomination for Album of the Year in 1973. Rodriguez was born in Sabinal, Texas, a small town about 60 miles west of San Antonio and about 90 miles east of the US-Mexico border. He was inducted into the Texas Country Music Hall of Fame in 2000. Years before his heartbreaking passing, Foley credited a chance encounter with the late director and editor Hal Ashby during his final year of film school as kickstarting his 30-plus-year career behind the camera. Because Hal Ashby had hired me, I became known to other people in Hollywood and got kind of viable in that weird calculus of Hollywood just because someone else, respected, thought I was viable, he told Film Freak Central in 2003. But Foley's official debut didn't come until 1980 when he directed Aidan Quinn and Daryl Hannah in the romantic drama Reckless. His next project was directing the music video for Madonna's hit Dress You Up in 1985. Foley would work with the Queen of Pop regularly thereafter to help shoot the videos for Live to Tell, True Blue, The Look of Love, and many more. So me, the crew, and her just drove around the harbor to places that I had never seen in my life, he once said about filming the music video for Madonna's 1986 song Papa Don't Preach, calling it a magical memory. Foley went on to work with some of Hollywood's most iconic actors, including Sean Penn and Christopher Walken in At Close Range, Al Pacino, Alec Baldwin, Ed Harris, Alan Arkin, and Kevin Spacey in Glengarry Glen Ross, Mark Wahlberg and Reese Witherspoon in Fear, Gene Hackman and Chris O'Donnell in The Chamber, and Halle Berry and Bruce Willis in Perfect Stranger. But a bad experience on the set of Perfect Stranger reportedly led the filmmaker to take a break from directing movies until he took over the 50 Shades franchise. For various reasons, it was not the best experience I've had, he told Filming in 2022, regarding the Berry and Willis thriller. I kind of withdrew after that moment. He also shared his secret to having such a long and eclectic career. I am incredibly hands-on about everything, Foley explained. You have to know when to apply or relieve pressure. You have to make the actors aware that you're empathetic. The best actors want to be directed. Once you're on the same wavelength, he added, you get incredible results. 50 Shades Freed, which was released in 2018, was Foley's last directorial project. Foley is survived by his brother, Kevin, his sisters, Eileen and Joanne, and a nephew, Quinn, per THR. He was predeceased by a second brother, Gerard. James Foley, whose decades-long directing career spanned both film and television, has passed away at 71. The legendary filmmaker died peacefully in his sleep earlier this week. In Los Angeles, after a years-long struggle with brain cancer, his rep told The Hollywood Reporter on Thursday. Foley's directing credits include the classic films At Close Range, Glengarry Glen Ross, Fear, and the final two films of the Dakota Johnson starring 50 Shades of Grey franchise, 50 Shades Darker and 50 Shades Freed. As for television, the filmmaking icon directed several episodes of Netflix's House of Cards, the Showtime hit Billions, and the uncanny David Lynch series Twin Peaks. Born on December 28, 1953, Foley grew up in New York before studying film at New York University and the University of Southern California in Los Angeles. Professional wrestler Sabu, a three-time world champion, was remembered as a trailblazer, a game-changer, and an icon. On Sunday, Sabu, the legendary wrestler, whose decorated professional wrestling career became synonymous with hardcore matches, has died. He was 60 years old. Game Changer Wrestling, All Elite Wrestling, and World Wrestling Entertainment were among the pro wrestling companies who mourned the hardcore legend's death over the weekend, as well as fans and performers around the business. He was an outlaw and a game changer, GCW wrote in a social media post Sunday. He inspired so many that stepped inside a GCW ring, and he will continue to inspire for generations to come. A true legend. His legacy will last forever, and he will never be forgotten. Rest in peace, and long live Sabu. AEW also paid tribute to Sabu, who made an appearance on the company's Double or Nothing program as a special guest referee. From barbed wire battles to unforgettable high-risk moments, Sabu gave everything to professional wrestling, the wrestling promotion wrote on X. Our thoughts are with his family, his friends, and his fans. WE said in a statement Sunday that the company was saddened to learn that Terry Brunk, known to wrestling fans as Sabu, has passed away. A cause of death was not announced Sunday. Sabu was considered a pioneer of the hardcore wrestling genre, which often included matches featuring a significant amount of blood spilled from its performers, who calculatedly used everything from barbed wire to sheets of glass to fight on another. The style became the hallmark of extreme championship wrestling during the 1990s, where Sabu became one of the top wrestlers between 1993-2000 before mostly performing on the independent wrestling circuit throughout the rest of his career. The Staten Island, New York native briefly joined WWE in 2007 and was featured in a hardcore match at WrestleMania 23. First trained by his uncle, WWE Hall of Fame wrestler Ed the Sheik Farhat, Sabu went on to win 3 world championships throughout his career, twice winning the ECW World Heavyweight Championship and once being crowned the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Sabu's career spanned the globe, performing for the likes of New Japan Pro Wrestling, the European Wrestling Association, and the Extreme Latin American Wrestling Promotion in Mexico, in addition to dozens of other small independent promotions around the United States. He last wrestled last month in Las Vegas during WrestleMania 41 weekend in a retirement match against Joey Janela, promoted by Geese. Thank you to my idol, a trailblazer, a game changer, and an icon, Janela wrote on X, sharing photos of him and Sabu, including one of them hugging in the ring after his final match. I love you and will miss you dearly, Sabu. Rest now. Mark Gaines, who spent nearly 40 years at Universal, rising from local booker to EVP and general sales manager, died Wednesday at his home in Broselton, GA. Deadline has learned. He was 77. Gaines began his career at Universal in 1976, working as a booker in its Atlanta branch. He went on to serve as branch manager in various southern cities, including Dallas in 1988, before relocating to Los Angeles in 1990 as VP Division Manager. He was named SVP, National Sales Manager, at Universal in 1994 before his promotion to EVP and General Sales Manager in 1997. He retired from that post in early 2016. During his nearly 4 decades in our industry, Mark has been an integral part of a rapidly evolving business. Uni's then distribution chief Nick Carpu said in a staff memo announcing Gaines' retirement then. In the early years, there were mom-and-pop theaters in every town. He recalls selling films in gas stations and at exhibitors' homes over dinner. The consummate distributor, Mark once even did business at a county fair, where the theater owner was selling his prize bull. Gaines retired just after Universal Pictures' record-breaking year in 2015, when it led all studios with a nearly 24% domestic market share, thanks to such mega hits as Jurassic World, Furious 7, 50 Shades of Grey, and Pitch Perfect 2. That year, the studio set industry box office speed records as the fastest to 1 billion domestic, 2 billion overseas, and 3 billion worldwide. The studio did a personal record, 245 billion in 2015, and beat its all-time record for global grosses in a single year by mid-June. After he retired, Gaines sold his home in LA's Toluca Lake neighborhood and moved back to his home state of Georgia. He was an avid golfer and a member of Lakeside Golf Club. Gaines lost his wife, former Paramount senior distribution executive Blaine Becker Gaines, in June 2024. Prolific Czech actor and president of the Karlovy Vary International Film Festival, Jiří Bartoška, has died at the age of 78. A festival spokesperson confirmed the news on Thursday. Bartoška had been battling cancer for the last 11 years. With more than 70 credits to his name, Bartoška was considered one of the most esteemed figures in Czech film, television, and theater. Born in Děčín, Czechoslovakia on March 24, 1947, Bartoška's career spanned decades. After graduating from the Janáček Academy of Performing Arts in Brno, he first worked at the Husa na Pravasku Theatre and the Činoherní studio in Ústí nad Labem, before becoming a mainstay of the ensemble at Theatre na Zábradlí in the early 1980s. After he left in the early 1990s, he continued performing intermittently at Bez Zábradlí Theatre and other theatres in the Czech Republic. He made his film debut in 1975 with The Playground, and then went on to star in Jan Schmidt's trilogy Settlement of Crows, On the Big River, and Call of the Tribe. In addition to nearly 70 films, he starred in many popular television series, including 1984 series The Ambulance and German series A Perfect Scoundrel. In 1999, Bartoška received the Czech Lion Award for Best Supporting Actor for the film All My Loved Ones, which he also produced. In 2016, he was awarded the Czech Lion for Outstanding Contribution to Czech Cinema. Bartoška played a key role in saving the Karlovy Vary International Film Festival, serving as its president from 1994. Together with KVFF's longtime artistic director Eva Zaoralova, the duo worked closely with the Ministry of Culture and the city of Karlovy Vary and the Grand Hotel Pub to build the festival into the internationally respected event it is today. Alongside his work with KVFF, Bartoška continued acting in television, film, dubbing, and on stage at the Kalisz Theatre, where he appeared in the play Moje hra. On the country's national holiday on October 28, 2023, Bartoška received the First-Class Medal of Merit from the President of the Republic for his services to the state in the field of culture and arts. He is survived by his wife, Andrea Bartošková, and their children, Katerina and Janek. Paul Nichols, a publicist who got his start in television working at the Mike Douglas Show in Philadelphia, and later had stints at Group W, All American Television, Sony Pictures Television, and Lipin Group, has died. He was 76. His March 14th death at his home in Weatherford, Texas, was announced by family. Born on March 22, 1948 in Wilmington, Delaware, Nichols graduated from Pennsylvania State University in 1970 with a degree in broadcast journalism. He launched his broadcast career working as a DJ at a local AM radio station in State College, Pennsylvania, later moving to Philadelphia, where he DJ'd at an FM radio station. In Philadelphia, he moved over to television to work as a publicist at the Mike Douglas Show, later moving to California to work for Douglas' successor, the actor and singer John Davidson. During his years at the Lipin Group, Nichols helped launch Baywatch into first-run syndication and assisted in the branding of what would become one of the most successful Cindy TV series. Nichols lived in LA's Marina del Rey area for years before moving with wife Linda to Texas upon their retirement. She died March 2nd at 77. They had been married since 1993. Paul Nichols is survived by his brother Robert and sister-in-law Denise, nephews Steve and James, and niece Caitlin, and 4 great-nieces. Rosanna Norton, who was Oscar-nominated for costume design for 1982's Tron and designed Sissy Spacek's iconic prom dress for Carrie, died of cancer May 7th in Los Angeles. She was 80. Her early costume design credits include Terrence Malick's Badlands and Brian De Palma's Carrie and Phantom of the Paradise. "We had no money," she recalled in a video interview about Carrie. She found many of the prom outfits in a store in the Valley that was going out of business, she said. But she had Carrie's simple pale pink satin dress custom-made by a seamstress after changing the color from the original red in the book to create a more striking contrast with the blood that is splashed on Spacek. At the time, prom dresses and bridesmaid dresses and things were very fussy. They had all these ruffles and detail, and I wanted to do a bias-cut dress, and I wanted it to be really simple and look as if she could have made it herself, she told Birth Movie's Death. "It didn't have a lot of ruffles or detail work. It's sort of a classic 1930s bias-cut dress. I wanted her to look different from everybody else, but beautiful at the same time, and all the other girls, they looked like teenage girls wearing these sort of roughly fancy gathered dresses." Norton was a lifelong Angelino, and while attending UCLA, she met her husband-to-be Bill Norton. Norton was the writer and director of Cisco Pike, for which she served as production designer and costume designer. She joined the Costume Directors Guild in 1975 and went on to mentor many members of the guild. Norton explained her look in connecting with directors in a statement from the guild, saying, "I would have been a painter, but was really lucky to get on some really good pictures through my friendships with directors Brian De Palma and Terry Malick." Among her more than 50 film credits, highlights included The Stuntman and Tron, for which she shared credit with Eloise Jensen and was nominated for an Academy Award in 1983 and the live-action version of The Flintstones. Norton's credits also include The Brady Bunch Movie, Inner Space, Airplane, and Airplane, RoboCop 2, Casper, The Patriot, and The Burbs. After retiring as a costume designer, Norton returned to painting. She is survived by 2 children and 5 grandchildren. Margot Friedlander, a German Jew who survived the Theresienstadt concentration camp and became a high-profile witness to Nazi persecution in her final years, died Friday. She was 103. Her death was announced by the Margot Friedlander Foundation in Berlin on its website. Details about where she died as well as the cause of death were not immediately made public. She died the week of the 80th anniversary of Nazi Germany's unconditional surrender in World War II. After spending much of her life in the United States, Friedlander returned to live in the German capital in her 80s. She was honored with Germany's highest decoration and with a statue at Berlin's City Hall. "What I do gives me my strength and probably also my energy, because I speak for those who can no longer speak," Friedlander said at an event at Berlin's Jewish Museum in 2018. "I would like to say that I don't just speak for the 6 million Jews who were killed, but for all the people who were killed. Innocent people," she said. German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier expressed his condolences in a statement, saying she gave Germany reconciliation despite the horrors she went through here in her life. Steinmeier said the country cannot be grateful enough for her gift. A report released last month said more than 100,000 Jewish survivors are still alive, but 70% of them will be gone within the next 10 years. Friedlander was born Margot Bendheim on November 5, 1921. Her father, Arthur Bendheim, owned a shop in Berlin. He had fought for Germany and had been decorated in World War I. Friedlander recalled that after the Nazis took power, her father initially said that "they don't mean us, we're Germans." She added that "we didn't see it until it was too late." And Friedlander wanted to design clothes and started an apprenticeship as a tailor. After her parents divorced in 1937, Friedlander, her mother and younger brother went to live with her grandparents. In 1941, they had to move to a so-called Jewish apartment, and Friedlander was forced to work nights at a metal factory. In January 1940, just as the family was planning to flee Berlin, Friedlander returned home to discover that her brother, Ralph, had been taken away by the Gestapo. A neighbor told her that her mother had decided to go to the police and go with Ralph, wherever that may be. She passed on her mother's final message, "Try to make your life," which would later become the title of Friedlander's autobiography. Along with her handbag, Friedlander went into hiding, taking off the yellow star that Jews were obliged to wear. She recalled getting her hair dyed red, reasoning that people think Jews don't have red hair. Legendary Australian radio presenter Paris Pomper has died on his 58th birthday. Mr. Pomper was a prominent voice in the Sydney music, DJ and arts scene and known for being the long-time presenter of the Jumping the Gap program between 2007-2022. The Canberra-raised DJ also co-founded Groove Scooter, which started out locally before growing into a national voice for the arts, music, and film scenes. His cause of death has yet to be released. The news of Pomper's passing was shared by 2SER on social media, which saw tributes flow in from fans and colleagues alike. 2SER played a tribute to Mr. Pomper on Friday night, using its airwaves to showcase some of the former presenter's best work. Paris was a brilliant DJ, producer, and radio presenter, whose incredible taste was only outshone by his obvious love of music, deep knowledge, incisive wit, and infectious sense of humor, 2SER said in a statement. Mr. Pomper is survived by his longtime partner Georgie Zuzak. Beyond the radio studio Paris, along with lifelong best friend Georgie, ran the Groove Scooter label, releasing records, distributing films, hosting In Conversations, and so much more, and being an essential part of the cultural fabric of this city over the last 30 years. Australian music industry writer Stuart Coupe said he was stunned and saddened by Mr. Pomper's death. A complete and total music fan, a beautiful human, and always a joy to run into around the traps or at 2SER over the years, he wrote on Facebook. Watching him dancing around the studio while presenting a radio show always made my day just that little happier. Sydney's Eastside Radio 89.7 FM also paid tribute to Mr. Pomper, saying his influence across community radio left its mark. For 2 decades as the co-host of the Groove Scooter show, he left an indelible mark on Eastside Radio and was the recipient of our highest volunteer award. Ruth Buzzi, who rose to fame as the frumpy and bitter Gladys Ormsby on the groundbreaking sketch comedy series Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, and made over 200 television appearances during a 45-year career, has died at age 88. Buzzi died Thursday at her home in Texas, says her agent Mike Eisenstadt. She had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's and was in hospice care. Shortly before her death, her husband, Kent Perkins, had posted a statement on Buzzi's Facebook page, thanking her many fans and telling them, "She wants you to know she probably had more fun doing those shows than you had watching them." Buzzi won a Golden Globe and was a 2-time Emmy nominee for the NBC show that ran from 1968 to 1973. She was the only regular to appear in all 6 seasons, including the pilot. She was first spotted by Laugh-In creator and producer George Schlatter, playing various characters on the Steve Allen Comedy Hour. Schlatter was holding auditions for Laugh-In when he received a picture in the mail of Buzzi in her Ormsby costume, sitting in a wire mesh trash barrel. The character was clad in drab brown, with her bun covered by a hairnet knotted in the middle of her forehead. "I think I hired her because of my passion for Gladys Ormsby," he wrote in his 2023 memoir, Still Laughing, A Life in Comedy. "I must admit that the hairnet and the rolled-down stockings did light my fire. My favorite Gladys line was when she announced that the day of the office Christmas party, they sent her home early. The Gladys character used her purse as a weapon against anyone who bothered her, striking people over the head. On Laugh-In, her most frequent target was Arte Johnson's dirty old man character Tyrone F. Horney. Gladys embodies the overlooked, the downtrodden, the taken for granted, the struggler, Buzzy told the Connecticut Post in 2018. So when she fights back, she speaks for everyone who's been marginalized, reduced to a sex object, or otherwise abused. And that's almost everyone at some time or other. Buzzy took her act to the Dean Martin Celebrity Roasts in Las Vegas, where she bashed her purse on the heads of Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Lucille Ball, among others. Her other recurring characters on Laugh-In included Flicker Farkle, Busy Buzzy, a Hollywood gossip columnist, Doris Swizzler, a cocktail lounge regular who got drunk with husband Leonard, played by Dick Martin, and an inconsiderate flight attendant. I never took my work for granted, nor assumed I deserved more of the credit or spotlight or more pay than anyone else, Buzzy told the Connecticut Post. I was just thrilled to drive down the hill to NBC every day as an employed actor with a job to do. The Buzzy remained friends through the years with Laugh-In co-stars Lily Tomlin and Joanne Worley. Born Ruth Ann Buzzy on July 24, 1936 in Westerly, Rhode Island, she was the daughter of Angelo Buzzy, a nationally known stone sculptor. Jill Sobule, singer of 1995 hit tracks I Kissed a Girl and Supermodel, has died at the age of 66. Sobule died early Thursday morning in a house fire, according to a statement from her publicity firm. It happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The Denver-born singer's song I Kissed a Girl, off of her 1995 self-titled album, became the first openly LGBTQ-themed song to chart on the Billboard Top 20. She is perhaps best known for her single Supermodel, also off her self-titled album, which was her second. Supermodel was prominently featured in the popular 1995 movie Clueless, helping Sobule break through to the mainstream. John Porter, Jill's manager, said in a statement that Sobule was a force of nature and human rights advocate whose music is woven into our culture, and that he hopes her music, memory, and legacy continue to live on and inspire others. Sobule's musical career spanned over 3 decades, starting in the 1990s with her debut album Things Here Are Different, which was produced by rock legend and record producer Todd Rundgren. The record was known for its track, Too Cool to Fall in Love. Her musical oeuvre includes 12 albums that take on issues including the death penalty, disordered eating, and LGBTQ+ issues, among other topics. She performed with Neil Young, Cyndi Lauper, and Tom Morello, among many others. Sobule released her 7th studio album, California Years, in 2009, and then went on an extended break from releasing music. In 2018, she released what is now her final album, Nostalgia Kills. I was my own procrastinatrix, is what I call it, she told Billboard in a 2018 interview about her long break between albums. I started loving music again. Loving listening, loving writing, and the original spirit of why I did this in the first place, I suppose. Sobule added that she loved to perform, and I love telling the stories of the songs. According to her website, Sobule was set to perform this weekend in Colorado, with further dates planned throughout the US into the summer and fall. Her PR firm's statement said there will be a formal memorial celebrating the singer's life and legacy later this year. Sobule is survived by her brother and sister-in-law, her nephews, cousins, and friends. The ex-Blackjack frontman once said his partner brightens up his world, and together the previously married pair now share a blended family. After being diagnosed with cancer, he leaned on his loved ones while facing the difficult journey. In the fall of 2023, Michael Bolton was enjoying peaceful moments with his family when an unforeseen health issue surfaced. He later opened up about his condition in a candid interview and the comfort he found in the woman he deeply cares for. While enjoying a night of bowling with his children and grandchildren, the singer kept bowling out of turn, repeating it several times. His daughter Taryn Bolton, 45, later described the moment as super weird in an interview, adding it became clear something was off. the 45-year-old explained. That was when we were like, something's wrong with his brain. Everything that happened was weird for him, but not super alarming. When you look back at everything together, we missed so many things. That strange night at the bowling alley soon made more sense. After dealing with sudden nausea, trouble keeping his balance, including a bad headache, Michael went to the hospital. An MRI revealed a brain tumor, which was completely taken out during surgery. About a week later, doctors gave the official diagnosis: glioblastoma, an uncommon and fast-growing type of brain cancer. The diagnosis marked only the beginning of a tough road. In January 24, Michael needed a second brain surgery due to an infection. After wrapping up radiation and chemotherapy by October, he began regular MRIs every 2 months to keep an eye on any signs of the tumor coming back. His early April 25 scan showed no new growth, but since glioblastoma has a high chance, around 90%, of returning, doctors are keeping a close watch. The songwriter later shared how much it meant to have his family beside him through it all as he faced each stage of his diagnosis. According to him, treatments affected his speech, movement, and memory. He said, "You're reaching into your resources and your resolve in a way that you never would have thought. Succumbing to the challenge is not an option. You're really quickly drawn into a duel. I guess that's the way you find out what you're made of." Despite the challenges, the father of 3 finds strength in connection and the comfort of those around him. Whenever you find yourself in any kind of challenging position, just to know that you're not alone going through it is a big deal, he shared. Michael also explained that he has chosen not to receive a prognosis, focusing instead on staying hopeful. It actually helps people to know. It reminds them that they're not alone. He now spends most of his days at home in Westport, Connecticut, where he has lived for over 3 decades. Time with family has become especially meaningful, alongside his youngest daughter, Taryn. He also shares his life with eldest daughter, Isa, 49, and Holly Bolton, 47, who described his health experience unimaginably scary. His 6 grandchildren, Amelia, 14, Olivia, Dylan, 11, Grayson, 10, River, 9, and Jack, 8, often gather with him for trivia nights, filling the home with laughter and warmth. Taryn said, "We're in this together and that's it." Family remains at the center of Michael's life, and his bond with his children, who often laugh about his 80s style, is clear. "My daughters never cease to amaze me," he once said. Alongside the deep pride he holds for his daughters, the 2-time Grammy winner also treasures his relationship with his girlfriend, Heather Kersner. The two had been close for nearly 50 years before their friendship grew into something more. During the summer of 2022, they appeared together publicly for the first time as a couple in February 2023. Michael dished on the couple's relationship in a July interview that same year. "It's been very natural. A kind of checking all the boxes. My work takes up a lot of space, and I've been learning what the whole process is of having someone who really brightens up your life." Even after stepping out as a couple at the MusiCares Person of the Year Gala in Los Angeles that February, Michael remains guarded when it comes to his private life. "How cautious am I in talking about this?" he mused, but did admit, "The people I love bring me a lot of happiness." Though careful with what he shares about his current relationship, Michael's history includes meaningful chapters of love and family. He was once married to Maureen McGuire, the mother of his daughters Isa, Taryn, and Holly. Their marriage ended in 1990, and 2 years later, Michael began dating actress Nicolette Sheridan. Although they parted ways after 5 years, the two rekindled their romance in the 2000s, announced their engagement in 2006, and ended it 2 years later in 2000. When looking back on that long-running connection, Michael admitted it was not easy to define. "It's just something that happens with you and somebody in your life." Describing the on and off nature of their bond, which stretched over 17 years, he added with a touch of humor, I was 5, of course, when it started. Heather also brings her own story. She has 2 children and was formerly married to Saul Kirchner, a well-known hotel and casino magnate. The couple married in 2000, but their relationship came to an end in 2011. A year later, Heather, once dubbed one of the world's greatest experts on luxury, spoke openly about their split. She attributed the breakdown of their 11-year union to Saul's non-stop work schedule, describing him as someone who works all the time, travels all the time, and kind of had his business be the most important thing in his life. At the time, Saul, who had been married 3 times before, had already moved out of the family's townhouse overlooking Holland Park. In divorce filings at the High Court in London, Heather cited unreasonable behavior and was reportedly set to receive a significant settlement. Despite the public nature of their split, Heather acknowledged that much of their time together had been fulfilling. "Our marriage was very good for most of the time. We were very happy, so the breakdown has been very sad for both of us. Really sad." Following the end of her marriage to the South African businessman, the socialite became briefly engaged to former Bell Pottinger CEO James Henderson. After her brief engagement, Heather eventually found new love with Michael. But as their relationship continues to grow, marriage has not yet entered the picture. Long before they became a couple, the celebrity had shared his thoughts in an interview on marrying again. "I've been married before, and I'd get married again. Marriage is the expression and physical manifestation of a mutual, deep bond and serious commitment between 2 people. I believe in marriage." He believed that the strength of any marriage depended on the quality of the relationship. To him, it was more than just a certificate. It was about choosing someone to be a lover, partner, confidant, and closest friend for life. Michael also felt that chemistry and mutual respect were essential, as every relationship would face challenges and difficult moments. His view on relationships also extended to modern dating culture, which he found both amusing and insightful. The Connecticut native once described dating over the years as fun, exciting, and at times highly illuminating and deeply stimulating, or not so much. While his friends explored Tinder and similar apps, Michael admitted they weren't for him. "To me, it's strange only because I'm not participating in it," he noted, acknowledging that each generation has its own way of forming connections. He didn't criticize those seeking short-term flings. "I don't judge those only looking for someone for a night or a weekend, because then I'd sound like my father." In his eyes, that shift was simply part of the current era. Still, the now 72-year-old believes that love remains the most powerful experience you can have, even if younger people using these platforms might take longer to realize it. Michael Bolton's life has been defined by personal trials, family bonds, and the steady presence of love in various forms. From health battles to meaningful relationships, each chapter has revealed what matters most to him. His connection with Heather, support from his daughters, and time with his grandchildren continue to anchor his days. Despite public attention, he remains grounded in values built through experience, clarity, and choice.